Hey there, good evening. Welcome to episode 89 of WhysAdvice. And here we are checking in on a Saturday, kind of a rare opportunity on a Facebook Live Saturday night. Figured we'd check in, see who's here, see what's going on, see what's going down in your world. See who the first one to pop in is. Will be always interesting to see who pops in first. Let's see who it is. Come on. Monica, good evening. Hello, how are you? Terry's here. Good to see you. David's in. Donna's in. Good evening. And Adriana, cool. Good to see you. Hi. Katie, hello. How are you? Megan, what up, bro? Debbie's here. Good evening to you. Adriana's out of town. Very cool. Linda, hello. Good evening to you. Yvette is here. Cool. Checking in. Lucy, hello. Good to see you. Jennifer, man, all kinds of cool people popping in. Karen's here. Very cool. So I got an interesting show tonight. David, hello. One of the emails, hey, Donna, thank you for that. One of the emails is, it's going to be kind of long, but it's going to be kind of good. I think you're going to like it a lot. So Jacob is here. Lauren's here. Hi. David, thank you for the happy anniversary. That was 22 years, right? Whew. Crazy. So Katie's out visiting. Andrea's here. Johanna, thank you. Hi. Aaron is here. Good evening. Is anybody here for the first time? I recognize most every name. May, how are you? Hey. Rock, did you win a magnet? No, but I have one. Catherine, hey. Nashville, Robin, thank you for that. Good to see you. Let's see what else is going on. Taryn, I'm good. How are you? Amy, good evening. Hi. So it's a rare for a Saturday night, right? Vanessa, hello. Good to see you. Marianne is here too. Very cool. So what's going on in your world? How was your Saturday? Tracking good? Yeah, Linda, I don't know. We got to figure out how we're going to do this word of the day thing. I think I'm interested to know how we're going to do it, but I think it'd be fun to try and figure it out. But maybe tonight's not the night. We'll have to figure it out. But if you got one, I'll try and work it in. Monica, 2 months away from your 22nd anniversary. Very cool. Yeah, we're July 22nd for us is 22 years. Whew. So Chris is from Belton, South Carolina. Very nice. Good to see you. Michelle, thank you. Andrea says, wow, it's different watching on your laptop. In what way? Probably better connection, right? Taryn says 4.6 lost this week. Nice work. Very nice. Marianne switched to simply filling to switch things up a little bit. Very cool. Is it going to work, you think? I think both plans work, right? I think if you're switching to simply filling because you were stalled, I always think that were you working it properly in the first place? Because that sometimes will do it. So Tennessee again. Diane, hi. Catherine checking in from Amarillo. Very cool. Nice to saying no to the chocolate fountain. That's hard to do. Yes, David, it is the golden anniversary. Good job, man. And then, yep, very cool. All right, well, let's get this one going because it's going to be long and it's late on this side on the East Coast. So what I'll do is I'll go to the show, get the show recorded live, and then come back after and then pick up where we left off. So you guys will obviously communicate during the show, and but I won't see a lot of those comments, but I'll try to. But so if that makes sense. Amy says you lost focus this week, but weighed in today. Very good job. Very cool. So yeah, let's keep your why front and center. That's the key. Very, very cool. So Steven just looked at his shoulder and saw a mini FatDag. Ha! You're funny. Testing 1, 2. Test, test, test. Why is that? Test, test, test. Very cool. Let's do that. Ashley's here for number 2. All right. And testing 1, 2. All right, audio looks clean there. You guys still hear me over there? I got that microphone a little further away. Stephen had a whole bunch of Giordano's. Very nice. All right. You ready? I am your host, FatDag, and you're listening to WhysAdvice. My weight loss journey failed when I focused on how. It wasn't until I switched my focus to why that I truly transformed myself. Join the show on the web at FatDag.com. Follow along on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at WhysAdvice. Send in your comments, your questions, your celebrations. I'll include them as part of the show. But before we dive in, remember, when you're out of points, stop eating points. Hey, I'm honored to be your wingman as we walk through this journey together because I believe in you. Well, hello there. Welcome to episode 89 of WhysAdvice. And I want to let you know right now that one of the things I get a lot of, I've talked about it a couple times now, is, I get a lot of folks that say, I want to write in soon. I'm going to send you an email soon. Someday I'll send you an email. And I want you to know, and you're going to hear it tonight in this show, I want you to know that now is the time to do that. You can always write in to update the story. You can give me an update later. But a couple things happen when you write in, and you're going to hear it again, like I said, is there something magical that happens when you put your words to paper, for one, for you, and then also for the community as they get spread out across the air. It really resonates with somebody somewhere. They always connect. And I get emails and questions about, hey, can you connect me with so-and-so from this episode? And I try to do my best to make sure that, that happens if the person who wrote it in wants it. And so if you write in a couple things that are certainly helpful, is obviously add your connect name. Make sure you do that. Let me know where you're from if you want to share that. And then, and let's keep it up. And then the last thing you need to remember is if you write in, there's about a 30-day commitment that you're going to commit to. Because if you write in today, it's going to take me probably 3 or 4 weeks to get it on the air. So for the next 3 or 4 weeks, as you're waiting for the email to hit the air, that keeps you focused. Because you want to make sure that when your email hits the air, that you're still doing exactly what you said you were doing in your email. So keep that in mind. That obviously your emails is how this show survives. So I encourage you to write in sooner rather than later. And this is going to tell you why right here. Monica writes in, says, "Hi, FatDag. I finally have the guts to email you and celebrate. I'm not sure why it was so hard. The first time I saw you on Connect was the day that your dog was no longer with you and your family. I saw your daughter's sadness and yours through her that day. I felt so connected because we were experiencing exactly the same thing in our house. I knew that day that I could always count on you. I have listened to every podcast since you started. Every time I hear you ask us to email you and celebrate, I've just not been able to do so. I didn't know how or even what to celebrate. My total loss is only 27 pounds, and I always thought it was just a little bit too little. I'm 4'11", and I'm 45 years old, a wife, a daughter, and a mother of 2. I've been at goal since January 20th, 2017. This is probably the 10th time I've reached goal, which means I've lost at least 10 pounds 20 times in my lifetime, or 200 pounds. Today, I felt the need to celebrate and write to you. I decided to celebrate not the total amount of weight loss, but so many other things. I am celebrating that this is the first time I've been at goal for longer than a month. That since I started my weight loss journey 30 years ago, this is the first time that I feel free. For many years, I've deprived myself of indulging, and I felt guilty every time. I'm celebrating that today I can indulge without an ounce of guilt. I am celebrating that for the first time in this 30-year journey, I am not alone. I am celebrating that I am aware when I'm a little bit off balance, I know exactly what to do to get things done and to get back on balance. Others may say, get back on track. Today, I am celebrating that I am no longer afraid to celebrate. Thank you, Mike, for everything you do for our community. I am connected to you, and I am celebrating that I have you in my life. God bless you and your family for your service, Monica. Well, Monica, that right there is tremendous. And I understand where you're at in your mindset, and the fact that you're celebrating is huge. And that right there shows me your winning spirit. That shows me your winning attitude. And I want to concentrate a little bit just before your celebrations where you say you only lost 27 pounds. And I addressed this in a previous podcast. If you're unhappy with the amount of weight you have, the number doesn't matter. When you get to goal, the number doesn't matter. I told you goal is a feeling. Well, so is being overweight. So if you're 27 pounds overweight or you're 127 pounds overweight, the feeling is the same. So the fact that you felt terrible about it and then took action to make the change to hit goal is exactly why you're celebrating. So I don't ever really want to hear people say, I only lost 27 pounds. Because what you really did is you only changed your life for the rest of your life. That's significant. And you did it. And the fact that you're celebrating in the way that you are, man, really, really keeps me happy. The one thing that I like the most, you said, since you started your weight loss journey, this is the first time that you feel free. Or you could put that in the other words. And the words that I would use is, this is the first time you hit goal. Right, that's it. When you hit goal, it's an incredibly freeing moment. When you hit the goal that I talk about, not the number goal, but when you hit that feeling of freedom, that is your true goal. So I understand exactly what you say, where for many years you've deprived yourself and you said, I can't indulge. You absolutely can. If you understand your journey and you got there properly and you worked the plan properly and you got to goal, the true goal, then sure, at that point you can reintroduce some things and you can celebrate differently with your life exactly as you're doing, because you know how to keep yourself in check, stay on balance. Your normal reaction is going to go to healthier foods. You recognize when you're not doing that. That is what the freedom of getting to a true goal weight does to you. When you get to a true goal weight, you recognize really quickly when you drift away from that. And you quickly work to get back. So Monica, congratulations on your amazing accomplishment, on your amazing hard work to lose those 27 pounds, but more importantly, to regain your life and to regain your freedom. Congratulations on hitting goal. Next email writes in, says, hi Mike, I have a quick question. At what point will our brain catch up with your weight loss? I have 45 pounds to lose. I just started maintenance, but every time I get on the scale, I expect to see 194 instead of 141. My clothes size has gone down, and when I look in the mirror, I see it, but my brain is not really processing it. I've been overweight all of my life. I know that my BMI is normal now, but my brain keeps telling me that I'm still fat. When my whole life has been devoted to losing weight and never succeeding, when will I accept the fact that I actually did succeed this time? Thanks for caring for us out there and allowing us to listen and share your insight. Well, here's the deal. Your brain does catch up, and it does take a while. And so just like you, I've been overweight my entire life. As an adult, anyway, I should say, my entire adult life. It did take a while for me to understand that. It took a while. When I reached my goal weight, there are times today where I still feel like the big person that I was. But majority of the time I don't. I finally, about a year now past, the point where I've no longer wanted to lose weight. It's taken me about a year. But a couple things that I would offer to you is I dress completely different. It happened to me recently. I put on a shirt that of a style that I used to wear before, and I instantly felt big again. Even though the shirt was a smaller size, but it was cut a little bigger. And I'm like, man, I don't like this. And so the clothing styles that I wear and the trends that I now wear, it's a little more form-fitting because I got to my goal weight, a place where I don't want to lose any more weight. And the clothes, as they fit really good. They fit really snug. So what I would ask you to do is I would say continue to look for new ways to remind yourself that you're not who you used to be. Your clothing is, not that it defines you by any stretch, but your clothing is the easiest form of expression that can help change your mindset. I dress completely different. The way that I act and carry myself is different. The way that I eat is different. And when I do all that, I remind myself that I am different in a lot of ways. Now, sure, I'm still the same person, right? But my inner feeling of happiness has increased so much, and I celebrate it every chance I get. And one of the things that taught me this early in the journey is one of my favorite articles of clothing was a football jersey. And I didn't want to part with it because it was a sentimental piece of clothing. And the day that I put that on, I was at my goal weight. I felt good. I looked good. And I put on this jersey that I've had for years that almost was too small. And I put it on, and even at my goal size, instantly in the mirror, I saw the big guy that I used to be. And that's what reminded me that, you know what? Maybe I need to just part with this. That part of my life is gone, and I instantly replaced it with a new one because I am not that same person. It's going to take a while for your brain to catch up, but I promise you, when it does catch up, you're going to love it. So thanks for your email for sure. Christie writes in and says, "Hi, Mike. Good morning to you. I have been listening to your podcast and following you on Connect for a while. I started Weight Watchers January 5th, 2016 at 293 pounds. So far, I've lost 118 pounds, and I'm about 25 pounds from my goal weight of 150. I wish I could be more like you and feel like I've beaten my addiction to food, but failing is always in the back of my mind. I don't have the same intense focus as I did when I started. Also, as I get smaller, I find I'm sabotaging myself. I think it's because, well, I'm afraid of the unknown. I'm venturing into weights that I have not seen in decades, if ever. I'm afraid I will lose my identity. I'm afraid I will fail and gain all the weight back like I always have in the past. I'm afraid I won't even make goal. There are still foods that trigger overeating, and I can't seem to get victory over them. I hope that by confessing this to you, I will be able to regain my focus and my confidence. Maybe I just need to say what I've been worrying about out loud instead of letting it roll around in my head. Thank you for all you do for being my wingman. I don't have anyone in my group of friends or family that I can discuss my weight loss with. I am so grateful for you and all the awesome people on Connect and my group leader at the meeting. Without this circle, I don't think I would have come this far. Your friend, Christie." Well, Christie, wow, congratulations on 118 pounds down, and you're 25 pounds from goal. That's an amazing accomplishment. That is intense focus. That is discipline. If you've now lost 118 pounds, you can get the last 25 off. You can't describe the feeling of losing 118 pounds. The tools we've given you and your work in the plan, everything you've done, you've proven to yourself that you can get through challenges. You can make it through weekends. You can make it through bumps. And you can persevere on to get 118 pounds down. So it's just a matter of time before the last 25 comes off. Now, I understand where you're at as far as the complacency. You say you're afraid of the unknown, and I get that. I also believe that you're actually very comfortable where you're at. Down 118 pounds absolutely feels good. It's life-changing. There's no question. No matter where you start, 118 pounds down is life-changing. You're settled into, you feel good, you look good. And it's easy to say, I'm afraid of the unknown because I don't know what that is. I can tell you it's worth the effort to get there. I want you to fight for it. I want you to get there. And I do understand that you're afraid of losing your identity. I understand that. I did that. I can tell you my new identity, just like you heard in the previous emails, is that freeing feeling that comes with that new identity that quickly reminds you that you should have been here a long time. So absolutely great job. And now let's talk about, you're venturing into weights you haven't seen in decades. That's phenomenal. Obviously there are still foods that trigger overeating. It's interesting that you recognize that. At some point, as you get closer to goal, I told you goal is a feeling. As you get closer to goal, you will start to recognize that the foods that trigger overeating, that right now you can't seem to get a victory over, will slowly dissipate from your diet. Foods that cause me to trigger me to overeat, generally now I don't crave them like I used to. And if I do, I understand what they do to my journey, and I understand how they take me away from that goal feeling. And that's not something I'm willing to compromise at this point. So be open to that as you get closer, that recognize the foods that do that for you, and then at some point start making the conscious decision. Does this support my goal of being happy and healthy for the rest of my life? The answer generally is going to be no. Now, if it is, then you do it in moderation. You find a way to work it in. But the fact that you recognize it is definitely the key. And the last piece I agree with you 100% is that the community we have built, I'm incredibly grateful for it as well. I have some amazing support in my life. I have people supporting me from all over the place before I found Connect. But the thing that's different about the Connect community, the thing that's different about the Weight Watcher community and that level of support, is that this community understands what it's like. The amazing support I have outside of this community doesn't understand the power, the freedom, the joy that comes from you saying, no, actually, I don't want a piece of cake. To the general public, that saying means absolutely nothing. Okay, yeah, great, you don't want cake. But to those of us who've struggled all of our life to get control of this, and when we walk in somewhere and we actually say those words out loud, no, I don't want that. To everyone else here's, okay, neat. He doesn't want it. What people in Weight Watchers hear and people who are working this weight loss journey, what they hear is, wow, this person's taking control of their life. This person's making an amazing accomplishment. This person has the power over these foods and they're winning. So Christie, keep up the great work. You're well on your way. I can't wait to see the new you when you get there. Now, folks, I got an email coming up here that I want to share with you. I want to kind of preface it with to give you a heads up that it's going to be a little bit longer than normal. And I've said this before. This is absolutely worth it. This is one of those emails that I tell you, this is why I want you to write in, because one, it's therapeutic for you, and two, people all over the world recognize it and can relate to it, and I want to share it with you. And PJ writes in, I'll open up real quick, and PJ says, well, dear Wingman, not sure on where to start. There are so many things going through my mind right now as I just returned from an over 2 miles walk early this morning. For the past 5 years or so, my goal has been 1 mile as many days a week as I can do it. Today, and the past couple of days, I've walked over 2 miles by listening to your podcast as I walk. I don't even think about whether or not I can do it, or I just do it. I'm so distracted listening to the podcast. It's my reward for walking, so I don't listen any other time of the day except for when I'm walking in the morning. Thank you. Thank you for the podcast. Thank you for being our wingman, and thank you for believing in me. This is one of the most meaningful gifts God has brought into my life in a very long time. To have someone say they believe in me and mean it when I can't even believe in myself. I've hesitated writing in a lengthy email to you because I just thought you were too busy to read through a bunch of blah, blah, blah. However, listening to today's podcast, you read 3 emails from listeners, and that is extremely comforting because every single one of us says at least one thing that resonates with someone else. So I thought I would return from my walk today and send you an email from my heart. I've been a lifetime Weight Watcher for many, many years, but my Weight Watcher goal is far different than my personal goal. I set my Weight Watcher goal about 15 pounds higher than my personal goal because, as we all know, I won't have to pay as long as I'm within that 2 pounds of my Weight Watcher goal. But I've been walking through life disappointed and disgusted in myself for probably 15 years because I've never made the solid commitment to drop the last 10 to 12 pounds. It wasn't until I found your podcast and your website through Connect that I finally feel like I'm on the way to meeting my personal goal. Again, I've been working on this 15 years, and I've lost and gained the same 10 pounds over 100 times at least. This morning's podcast that you talked about getting dressed and not worrying if your clothes would fit, that is a daily nightmare for me. Literally. In fact, it brings tears to my eyes as I type this because of the intensity of that emotion that arises when I actually verbalize and share with you the truth of it. That is one of my whys. I don't have to live with the same tormenting thoughts that I've been waking up each day with, such as why do I have to get out of bed and get dressed today? Nothing is going to fit. I'm too fat for everything I own. I ate so much last night. I actually dread this. I've been trying to determine my why since I've been listening to your podcast. I think I have many whys, actually. The fitting into clothes without dread is one. To be and to feel skinny is one. To be part of this community is one. The fellowship is so beyond anything else in my life. To not feel scrutinized harshly by the in-laws is a huge one for me. To not be afraid to use my childhood name of Patty because it rhymes with fatty is one. I could so relate to a listener today. I think it was Lori who remembered her weight being an issue as early as age 12. I remember going to a Weight Watcher meeting with my mom when I was 11 and being told I needed to lose weight, but I was too young to join. As I grew up, my weight went up, and like many others, I went from diet plan to diet plan and diet pill to diet pill, eating incredible volumes of cabbage soup or hard-boiled eggs and hot dogs, as well as consuming cans of Sunfast and etc. Having grown up with an alcoholic father and a verbally abusive big brother, I heard often that because of my obesity and my appearance, I shouldn't even go out in public. That it was such a disservice to the community for them to have to gaze at my appearance, and that I would never amount to anything, nor find a man to marry me based solely on my appearance. My oldest brother was in Vietnam, and we would write back and forth frequently. He, of course, knew of my weight issue and suggested in one of his letters that I write my name with an I instead of end it with a Y, because I started then spelling my name P-A-T-T-I, because to me it looked thinner than P-A-T-T-Y. In my 20s and the mid-80s, I was married to an alcoholic and had 2 small children. I had eaten my way to about 340 pounds, and I was absolutely miserable beyond description. The words I heard growing up echoed constantly in my mind, and I became a recluse. My husband left our children and me for a young, vivacious 18-year-old girl he worked with. I lived across the street from my mother, and she didn't drive, so I would drive her to the grocery store, and she would go in and purchase my groceries for me so I wouldn't have to go out in public. I didn't even want to meet the mailman at the door at my home. My husband wasn't contributing financially to our household any longer at all, so I had to do anything I could to support our 2 children and myself. The city where I lived in Sturgis posted a job for the city janitor that required working only at night, and I applied and I got the job. I thought I'd be safe at night and when I didn't have to see people, or rather have people see me. Nightly, I would load my 2 little kids into my old Plymouth Valair station wagon along with industrial cleaning equipment, vacuums, shampooers, chemicals, and we would clean the library, City Hall, and the city auditorium. This happened to be in Sturgis, South Dakota, so you can imagine, or maybe you can't actually imagine, but the filth and the grime in the Sturgis City Auditorium during the world's largest motorcycle rally event in August. When I'd go to clean City Hall, occasionally the commissioners or council people would be departing a meeting as I was arriving, and the glances, the stares of disgust, curiosity, and disapproval I got were vivid in my mind still 30 years later. I began counseling for that at times, and I walked through the horrors of a divorce. When I finally did muster the bravery to go shopping on my own at the grocery store, I always have people online glance on my cart and then give me the visual once-over. And I could read their minds saying, "How awful you are buying this when you look like that." Or I would frequently have people ask if they could cut in line ahead of me because, well, maybe they had only 1 or 2 items to purchase. If I needed assistance locating something in a store, when I approached the clerk, I would be received with a response that told me I was bothersome and annoying. The daily rejection I lived with was literally indescribable. Slowly continuing to receive counseling at a Christian counseling center, I began to study the Bible, lose weight, and I came out of my shell. I took a different job, but also at nights only. The job was a 911 operator for the local police department or the sheriff's office. There, I met a policeman whose wife was a bodybuilder. They would work out a few times a week at a free gym and asked me to join them. I started going with them. One time they pulled up in my driveway and I said I didn't feel like going that night, and they said they were going to sit in the driveway until I came outside. About 20 minutes later, I relented and I got in their car. They were so incredibly motivating and kind to me. When I was sweating profusely at the gym, they would say, "Come on, Patty, you can play another 5 minutes of basketball. One day you'll have the guys lined up at your front porch." I thought they were absolutely insane, but I'd play for those 5 minutes. After several months, I transferred to the 911 center in nearby Rapid City, where I met my current husband of 25 years. We dated almost 3 years before I found the courage to tell him that I had been terribly obese in the recent years. I had to know I could really trust him to not reject me before I could share that with him. I did not show him the one before picture of myself I had saved until we were married a couple of years later. I destroyed any pictures I could find of myself in the wretched state. So to this day, I only have that one photograph. After Dawn and I had been married about 5 years, my weight began creeping up again. Knowing my propensity to easily weigh over 300 pounds, I began to panic, and I got involved with a Bible study on weight loss, and that was online, but I also found my way to a Weight Watcher meeting as well. People would ask why I was doing 2 weight loss programs, and I would respond I was utilizing any available resource to help me. The fear was debilitating to me. Now, today, I need Weight Watchers in the community so desperately. I need it. Maybe someone listening realizes how desperately they need it. And FatDag, we need you. My why can't be to do it for me because I've let myself down all of my life. I'm 59 years old, and it made me cry the first time I heard you say in your podcast that you believe in me and that you'll be my wingman. But I have a lot of other whys, and I'm writing them down as they come to mind as you recommend. And I need each member that signs up. If others didn't participate, I would be alone on this path. And I love that God brings others to link arms with us as we stumble along. FatDag, I don't know if you realize the incredible, intense, powerful impact you have on your listeners and how desperately we all feel that we need you. Seriously, it's really a powerful thought to me. This is the time that I'm going to get there on Saturday. The scale got below a number that I have not seen ever that I can remember. I'm getting there. Now I have 10 pounds to go. And you know what? We're going to make it this time. So thank you. God bless, and keep doing what you're doing. It's going to take me a second to get through the end of this because... folks, this is real life, right? This story right here, when she sent it in, it just so many emotions go through all of us, and only those of us who've lived it understand it. It's absolutely why it's why this journey is so powerful, and it's why we need each other. It's why when I reached out the first time and said I'm looking for a wingman, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know where else to turn. And PJ and Patty, we're gonna make it. We're absolutely gonna make it. And I get caught up in your email because there's so much going on. And as I read it a couple times now, and I took notes that I wanted to talk about, and here I sit trying to get through my own notes, and I just can't do it. I understand where you're at. You're 10 pounds from goal. That has to be the most liberating feeling on the planet. I live that. I know what that's like. I know how close you are. And that's why more than anything, I absolutely want you to know I do believe in you. Yeah, I really do. And why I believe in you is because our community is strong. Our community has people of all stages of the journey. We have people on day one. We have people who are years into their lifetime journey that have been successful. All along that spectrum, we have someone in every stage of this journey. So no matter where you are in the journey, there's someone you can look at that can relate to exactly where you are at the moment that you're there, someone that can show you where you started, and someone that can show you where you're headed. With that kind of vision, the community absolutely knows that together we can get this done. So I believe in you. And when you took the time to write this email into me on paper and you put it in words, that tells me, even though you didn't say it, it tells me you believe in yourself as well. Because if you didn't believe in yourself, you wouldn't have taken the time to put it on paper. Right? So you do believe in yourself. And as much as I appreciate the way you ended your email, what I want you to know is that, I'm honored to be here and I will always walk this journey with you. But you don't need me. You have yourself, you have the community, but what you really need is you need to get to goal. So that someone right now who's hearing your story that doesn't have the courage to write it down, right now they're sitting there going, yeah, that's me. And they need to know that they can win this. And if you get to goal, let me back up. When you get to goal, for that person, you've just demonstrated everything they've gone through, which mirrors everything you've gone through. You've now given them the hope to win. So PJ, your email is absolutely amazing. And from the bottom of my heart, it breaks my heart for you, but also it doesn't, in a sense where you've had to have lived the journey you've lived to be able to appreciate where you currently are now. You found some amazing wingmen along the way to help you get the journey complete. I want you to now focus on you. Dive into you. Be that inspiration for somebody else. Thank you for your email, for sure. We will get to goal. We will get you to goal. And the hurt and the pain will instantly subside. It's never going to go away. You're always going to remember it. That's the beauty of the plan, is that you get to keep that with you for the rest of your life, and that's what keeps you grounded and keeps you never ever wanting to go back once you win. And you can get there. So thank you for that, for sure. Man, that was something. So Patty, again, thank you. So Mary writes in and says, hey, I hit 10% today. Thanks for celebrating with me. Thanks for your support and helping me stay focused. So Mary, congratulations on that. What do we say, right? If you hit 10%, you can hit goal. If you've hit 10%, you heard just in Patty's email just a second ago, she went from a very high weight down to 10 pounds from goal. At some point, she hit her 10%. She pushed through. And because you hit 10%, you can do the same thing. We don't give you new tools. We don't give you anything different. If you've hit 10%, you can make goal. And no matter where you start along that journey, you can get there. So Mary, congratulations on your 10%. I want to see you hit goal. You can do it. Keep up the great work. Last email I get is just a quick question. It says, hey, Mike, does it make you nervous that seeing your weight climbs into the 190s, from Beth Ann? Well, Beth, as you know, I weigh myself every morning. I've come to terms with the fact that I weigh the same whether I hop on the scale or not. If I hop on the scale, I can look at the number and I can make a plan. I can make adjustments to my plan and figure out if that's what I want to do or not. Now, if you saw, I put it on Connect a couple days ago. I'm confident that, my goal weight, it started at 172. I've adjusted it into the mid 180s. I live off of a goal being a feeling more than a number at this point. I know that my muscle mass has increased. I don't know the exact number on it, but roughly I've added 10 to 15 pounds of muscle, somewhere in that range. So no, I'm not nervous that the scale climbs into the 190s. I still feel really good. All the clothing that I purchased when I hit my goal weight all still fits really good. So I monitor it daily still. I do know that I'm adding muscle mass. I do know there are days that my tracker isn't as good as it could be. So I know if I tighten it up, then I'll be able to rein it in. But at this point, that just becomes a data point for me to help me work my journey and follow the plan. So thanks for keeping an eye out. It's on Twitter, it's on my Facebook page, it's on my website. So you're obviously got your eye on me, and that is why I do it, is for that little bit of accountability. So thanks for that. Well, folks, this has been a great show. Lots of celebrations, and I'm really proud of all of you out there for just out there getting it done. But I want to know, what is it that you're celebrating? Let's share it on the air. Go to FatDag.com, click on Listen Now. Somebody needs to hear your story. Someone needs to know that what they're going through is relatable, that they can win, that they're not alone, and that we are a better community. And we share those on the air. And send in your questions, your comments. I'll work all of them in as part of the show because I want you to be proud of what you're doing. But that is going to do it for this time. Remember, losing weight and getting healthy has nothing to do with luck. You have to remain disciplined and focused. Set your sights on your goal and go after it. I wish you good focus. Was that not crazy? So I had a whole bunch of notes of things that I wanted to say to Patty, right? And I don't know if she popped in or not, but I had a whole bunch of things that I wanted to say, and I couldn't get to it. I don't know. When I got to the end of the email, it just I wasn't able to say what I wanted to say, and so I did, but I think I got to the gist of it. But yeah, so that's why we're doing this, folks. Is every single one of us can relate. It doesn't matter if it's 27 pounds or 227 pounds. When this journey is real, and if you don't like the way you look, 27 pounds overweight, it's not any different than the person who doesn't like the way they look at 300 pounds overweight. Sure, there is some difference, it's just but mentally, this journey is completely mental. And mentally, it's the same issue. And what Patty wrote in, and I have another email from her later in this week that was crazy, and it's a follow-up to this one. And I thought about trying to include it in here, but I kind of want to pause here. But, you, one by one, you can imagine going through all of those scenarios, right? They're not far from things that we've all experienced. And, I see on Connect, and I see everywhere people sharing their stories of how they've been treated differently along the way. And I have them on my own. And, I know that for a lot of my life, there are things that I have done or tried to do that I was limited by my physical appearance, for one, and or ability to do things. So, but we've all lived it, and then the beauty is that we found a place together where we can solve it. So cool. Well, I'll go through. I'm kind of see where you guys are at. That was just interesting. Took a lot out of me. It was very emotional. So, it was good. Let's see what I would. If you guys now that I've had her checking things, I wanted to see if I said anything I want to tell her, but not really. I guess nothing I didn't kind of cover. Yeah, it's funny. The notes I have, I'm like, yeah, that's not what I wanted to say. But anyway, so cool. Good stuff for sure. So thank you guys for being here. Donna, yeah, it was totally an amazing show. Marianne's still here. Awesome. Thank you. Diane, thank you. Yeah, Donna, I did pretty good not to lose it. I don't know if you guys noticed, but my eyes got pretty wet. It kept me from getting it. So yeah, Megan, you're very welcome. It's one of the things someone asked me today. Is that how much does it cost to download the app? And it's funny when I hear that question, because it doesn't even register in my mind that there should be a charge for the app. It's just information. It's just stuff that I know. I understand there's a quote unquote value to it, but there's no value in a monetary value. The value to me is knowing that if there is one person who needs this resource, and they get it, then that's all I ever wanted. So, I would give I'd give this information away for the rest of my life, because the reality is I want any single person who has an email just like you just heard, that doesn't even know we exist in this community. I want someone to be able to hear that and go, okay, this is my tribe. So it's funny. So for Megan says, thank you for allowing me to listen. No, thank you for wanting to listen, and thank you for seeking it out. Thank you for taking care of yourself enough to find a resource. And, continue to share with the community that this resource is available. But, there's no point in charging for an app when the emails and the words need to be spread. So, Linda, yeah, very emotional for sure. And so it's funny, Linda, not funny, but it's funny in the sense where, again, I have another email from her that I'll probably use in another show, probably sooner rather than later. That way it kind of, folks who are listening can get it pretty quick. But she does a great follow-up email that you're going to want to hear as well. So it'll be cool. And I will put her Connect username in the show notes. I'll email her and ask her. But I'm pretty sure she's okay with it. So Catherine says, thank you. Can't imagine your journey without the live broadcast. Cool. It's, I started off doing them live, or I started off not doing live, and then I started doing them live. And now it just seems like every time I do a show, I just do it live. As long as you guys continue tuning in, then we'll continue doing it. So, Marianne, thanks. Donna, thank you for that. Yeah, Ann, yeah, fun. What a cool Saturday night, right? I mean, there's all kinds of things we could be doing, but this is way more fun. But more importantly, it's way more important. It's funny. One of the things that's always bothered me about my attempts to lose weight, and mostly, and certainly not picking on anyone in particular, but those who tried to support me in my work efforts, when I was at work, and they didn't have any of the, not that there is an answer, but their answers didn't come from experience. Their answers came from a textbook from somebody else. And so, every time someone tried to help me do it, I knew how, right? I know what the answer is on paper. But to have someone, I never really had someone who walked it with me until I found the Connect community. So that's my motivation. That is my drive, is that, this podcast, if someone were to say, hey, that's a good idea, I'll start that. If they haven't walked this journey, anyone can do whatever they want. The tools are available. It's easy to do. But if you haven't walked this journey, it's not the same. And I'm not going to resonate with someone who hasn't at least walked part of the journey. So, and most people who do this stuff have, I guess, to some extent, but everything for me was on the line. And so I understand all of what gets written in. It's pretty interesting. So thanks for that, Anne, for sure. So Catherine says there's not just one that needs you. We all do. No. And so and I appreciate that. I really do, but I really do want to find us to get to a place where we do need each other, but we need ourselves more than we need someone else. And so I want us to be able to, and I don't know how we're going to get there, but I want us to transition to a place where we feel like we can do this on our own, right? Because that's important. And I understand that's, it's going to be tough, but that's going to be so important for us to get to that point where because once we can, and this is why I'm very happy with how my journey is shaken out. Because when I started, I couldn't do this on my own. I needed the Connect community for sure. Somewhere in the middle, I figured out I could do it on my own, kind of. And I could continue on my own with the support, I guess I should say. And then that is the point when then I got goal. It's like, okay, now that I'm in a good place, now that I'm goal and I'm stable and I can work the journey in my own terms, I now can provide support back. So as long as we stay a community, I want to make sure that we have those ties back. And so I want you to get there as well. Susan got back from sister surprise party, had a plan and stuck to it. Didn't use extra points. See, that right there, that's exciting to me, because if you told that to a handful of people who've never tried to lose weight, they don't get how powerful that one sentence is. You went to a surprise party, they had tons of extra food, you stuck to your plan. That's incredibly powerful. So I'm proud of you. I really, really, really am. That's something that only us understands. Yeah, Donna, you're absolutely right. It's a safe place for us to share our lives with 500,000 people. It's fun. Yeah, so Brandy, that's it. No gimmicks, no gimmicks, no branding, no. It's just love. And I've gotten. I don't really want to share too much information, but I've gotten a couple emails of people who want to co-brand, whatever, advertise, so to speak, and I'm not there yet, and there may be a point in life where that becomes, to the point where I can't ignore it. But right now, I'm not even close to there. I'm not even entertaining it because it's not what we do. It's not what keeps the show what it is. And so it was built on the community. So now it's real. It's no gimmicks, it's no branding. It's just us sharing our stories and getting us all to goal. And that's the goal. So you're very welcome for that. Paulette, you're very welcome. Monica, glad to do it. Yep. Let's see. Holly, no, I agree with that. It's when you're at a point. So Holly, if you haven't yet, hopefully you listened to yesterday, which would be 88th episode. And so it's not only when you're at a point, stop eating points, but when you're at a point, stop eating points, and then reassess so that you can figure out what you could have done differently to actually have points. Because you really shouldn't be working this plan where you're running out of points midday. But it happens early on, sure. But at some point you need to adjust everything so you're running out of points just before you head to bed. That's where you want to get to. So I want you to, when you're at a point, stop eating points and then assess the day and look at where could I have made adjustments. And, if I would have not had the Snickers bar at lunch, man, I could have had dinner. You don't think of that when you're having the Snickers bar at lunch. You just eat it and you track it and you move on. And all of a sudden you get to dinner, you're out of points. But at that point, I want you to look at your tracker and go, oh, look at that. If I didn't have whatever, if I didn't have cheese and this, I could have saved 5 points by not doing this, and this. Boom, now I can eat dinner. And that's the healthy lifestyle we end up building. So you're welcome for that. Yes, Donna, we all know the struggle is completely real. It's funny. It's when I first said it, I think there was a couple of us, I forget exactly how it derived, but I kind of said something like it, and then someone on Connect helped me rephrase it, and then I rephrased it. So it kind of grew out of the community as well. And then I just kind of took ownership of it. So this is how we're going to word it. And it's so stinking obvious, but it's the hardest part of the program. So fun stuff. Yvette, you're absolutely right. Most people just don't get it. And it's not to their fault. There's things in the life I don't get because I haven't lived them. I get this. I get this completely. Linda, thanks for pointing that out. 5 years at Lifetime is incredible, Holly. So great job there. And that's exactly what Linda said. It tells me as well, I'm coming up on 1 year at Lifetime. And so now that I see you at 5 years, I'm like, okay, so that's my next goal. Do it for 5 years. Diana, you're very, very welcome for sure. Denise, very cool. Did a triathlon today. You see? Yeah. Denise, that's incredible. So Denise did a triathlon and stayed on points. A triathlon's a lot of work. You could very easily justify eating, a lot of extra food, but the reality is you probably only burned, another 800 calories. I don't know how much work you did, but maybe 1,000 calories, which isn't a ton of extra food. So good job, Denise. Congratulations on that. Very cool. Let's see. Yep. Very cool. Very cool. And then Leah's here. Woohoo. Hi, Leah. Good to see you for sure. So Teresa says there's a set of twins that her meeting have been at goal for 25 years. Isn't that incredible? That's incredible. So very cool. Well, folks, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. Like I said, I want to get this thing hitting the airways for a special Sunday morning episode. I think it'll be one of the first ones we've had to hit the air on a Sunday morning. So that'll be kind of cool. But always appreciate you being here. This, can't describe it. This is, it gives me so much joy to be able to do this and to use your emails to to build our community up and to let somebody else know that what they're trying to do is possible. So I'll say it on the Facebook Live. There's a handful of you left here, but we've got to continue sharing our journey, because everything you heard tonight resonates with us. And so if nothing else, it reminds us that we're not alone, and that we can do this. And so your story will do that for somebody else. So as always, I thank you for being here. I thank you for being a part of my journey. And more than anything that this journey is difficult work. It takes intense focus all day long. It takes determination. It takes you wanting this more than anything else you've ever wanted in your life, and that takes that focus we've talked about. I wish you good focus.